Sí, está aquí para...
I don't speak Spanish, so I have no idea what the hell is going on.
I recently got to see you in Swimming with Sharks.
Oh, okay, nice.
Which it started out great, but it ended that so bad, right? I want to ask you, when you were getting the script, did you know how bad it was going to be at the end, or did you think it's going to get better?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by bad at the end?
Because like the main character, Sabrina, what's her name?
Kiernan?
Yeah. She went crazy like from episode 4 to 5, like completely from 0 to 100.
Right.
It made no sense.
Right.
And the guy she should have killed, she didn't.
Yeah.
The guy.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I actually can't remember that series at all. We shot that during the pandemic, actually, and so we started it before COVID, and then COVID happened, so we went on hiatus for like 6 months, and then we continued it afterwards. So really, I can't remember it, but I do remember that the whole point of the show was that Kiernan's character was someone that struggled with mental health and kind of aspired to be in that industry and became attached to the producer that was played by... Oh, fuck. Who is it? I'm blanking. IMDb it, yeah. So yeah, that was just the point in the story, yeah.
And in your case, does it take an accent coach? Because your accent is like...
English, yep. Yeah.
But in the teacher is American, it's an American one.
Yep.
And, well, physically you look just so handsome.
I try. I try. But no, do I use an accent coach? No, I don't. Sometimes when I'm on set, I might have one just to kind of help me out. But really, I've just been doing it for a long time now, for about 10, 11 years. So over that period of time, you just kind of fall into your own rhythm.
I kept on watching it just because of it.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Tell me, are you open to a return to Marvel? Wait a minute. Let's talk about how the style was about making the Defenders or Daredevil. But what do you think about the new style that Marvel takes to Daredevil?
I think it's great. I think they're really putting a lot of intention into that new show. They're clearly putting a lot of money and a lot of thought and a lot of time into it. And from what I've seen so far, they've done a really good job at being faithful to the original Netflix shows, but then also bringing everything that the kind of MCU films have into the fold as well. And I think if it continues to grow like that, then they have a very successful future ahead of them.
Would you like to be again?
Yeah, of course. I'm ready. I would love to see a Defenders reunion. I would love to see a Heroes for Hire team up with Danny Rand and Luke Cage. I think it's all there on the table. I think it's just, I'm willing to do it. I'm ready to do it. And I think it's just a matter of timing. And yeah, I think it'd be fantastic. And I think it's really what the fans want as well. Like the fans want to see the Defenders again. They want to see the Heroes for Hire. And I think, it's been 7 years since we last saw those characters, and I can only speak of what I believe Danny's been going through, but I think there's a lot of growth and a lot of change in that character that I think would be really exciting to not only explore as an artist, but also for fans to kind of see as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were expecting to see your chair in the last announcement from Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. They're taking their sweet time.
What he's asking is that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday they announced the cast for Avengers Doomsday.
Oh.
The director said with the name, and they were expecting your name.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I actually saw a brief video on YouTube about that. I didn't realize that's what it was. Okay, great. Hello.
Playing Danny Rand in Ironfist plays you on the center of the story that brings martial arts, mysticism, and a personal conflict. What was the process like bringing to life a character with so many layers, both physically and emotionally? And what part of it challenged you most? I want to know.
It's a great question. I think what I love about the character is that he's someone that has gone through a lot of adversity in his life, and he doesn't necessarily shy away from his vulnerability, but it's also his vulnerability that also gets him in a lot of inner turmoil and trouble. And he's a character that's trying to blend trauma with like losing his parents, with also trying to have the courage to kind of protect people and do the right thing. And he was just at the stage that we saw him in those shows 7 years ago, he was someone that was just out of his depth. And I think, really, if I'm being honest, I was out of my depth as well as an actor. I was very new to leading a show. I was in an environment where I think the production didn't really know what it was doing as well. It was a very rushed production. I was kind of thrown into the deep end. And it was like the train was moving at full speed. I just got thrown on the train and I was trying to drive it as best as I can. And, that's what that experience was. And I learned a great deal about myself as an actor, as an artist, and as a person. And I think there was a kind of, there was a similarity to maybe what Daniel was feeling in that moment in the story as well. And I think what I like with the idea of potentially coming back into that series is taking all of that growth and all of that knowledge and then seeing how Danny has evolved as a person, as a hero. And maybe he's got some insight, maybe he's learned something along the way, and maybe he can actually become the figure, the mentor that he is in the books, like he is someone that has gone through a lot and is able to overcome that and impart knowledge onto others and help others. And if the character was to come back, I would like to see it kind of maybe skew into that lane.
What was your most challenging moment, like as an actor? Like, how was your process to interpret a fighting scene?
Well, the interesting thing is the most challenging thing as an actor isn't necessarily when you're doing the job. That's there's challenges in that, like, how do you interpret a character? How do you deal with the long hours? The hardest thing as an actor is the periods in between jobs, when you don't know when the next paycheck is going to come, you don't know when the next creative outlet's going to come. Potentially you may have something come and then it goes away. You have to deal with, for Ironfist, for example, I put my heart and soul into that show. I really cared about it. It wasn't perfect, but then you have to deal with all the criticism. You have to deal with the cancellation. To process and to continue to have hope and faith in yourself in spite of all that, that's the most challenging things as an actor. But that is also the thing that makes you a better actor. It makes you a better artist. It makes you a better person if you can overcome that with integrity. But doing the job, that's the fun part. Yeah. That's the part where you get to play with other people. That's the part where you feel like you're accepted and you're around other people that want to be involved in the creative process. So.
What's the difference, like working with Marvel and working with Game of Thrones? What's as an actor?
Yeah, well, they were different beasts completely. Like Marvel Television that I was working for Netflix are now no longer around. That was a very different company to what is now Marvel Television, right? So they're totally different entities. And Game of Thrones was a HBO show. So, one of the key examples was Game of Thrones had a lot more time, a lot more money, and a lot more. Just had more time and money, whereas Marvel Television, with what I was doing, their hearts were in the right place and they really cared about the characters, but the resources were finite, and so you're continually trying to do something like Game of Thrones, but on a much smaller budget, and obviously that creates a lot of tension and a lot of it's difficult. But what I think is different now with what Marvel Television is doing now is they are actually putting the money and time of something like a Game of Thrones into their products. And you can see from this new season of Daredevil that it's really making a difference. Yeah.
It's possible to can appear like in the next chapters of Daredevil.
I mean, it's always possible. Like I said, I'm here, I'm ready. I think there is a willingness for the fans to see that happen. There's a lot of willingness for the fans to see that not happen as well. Like, I'm very aware of the critiques of the character and my role in it. But my response to that is like, give me a fucking chance, man. Like, I'm here and I'm ready, and I want to prove people wrong. And so, I would love to see that happen.
Can you please send that part to Marvel?
Yeah.